Madison. Thank you. So we've got 2 minus x over 3. And we've got plus 3 is equal to 4. What must we do first? We've got to isolate this absolute value. So that's going to be subtract 3. We're going to get 1. Now, if you recall, we say 2 minus x over 3 equals 1. Or we said the opposite of 2 minus x over 3 is equal to 1. You separate it into two equations. This is the same thing as negative 1. When you distribute, that will only be in the numerator. How do we eliminate fractions? Multiply by 3. So you're going to have 2 minus x equals 3. Notice that on number 2, there was a fraction. Number 3, there was a fraction. No. Yes. Number 5, there was a fraction. Number 6, there is a fraction. If you look at some of these problems, most of them seems to have fractions. So my guess is be prepared for getting rid of lots of denominators. Now, we distribute this. It's negative 2 plus x over 3 equals 1. So again, we're going to eliminate denominators by multiplying by the common denominator. So the 3 is gone. So I have negative 2 plus x equals 3. Add the negative 2, you will get 5. Now, is this one of those ones that you could have worked backwards? Okay, how could you have worked from the answers backwards? Plugging them in and seeing which pair works. All right. So if they really wanted to test to know if you knew how to solve this, then the question should have been, what is the next step to solve this, and then list them. That way they would have known if you truly knew. You wouldn't have been able to work backwards that way. But I didn't write it, so you're lucky. All right, so we have this rectangle. And what do we know about the area formula for a rectangle? Length times width equals area. And did they not give us the area? They told us it was 80. Now listen carefully. It says it has a width that is 3 more than half its length. What do we know the least about? The length. So now the width is 3 more than half the length. Oh my gosh, what do you see? Another fraction. So out of 8 problems, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with fractions. Is that amazing? So we're going to say length times our width is equal to 80. So now we're going to distribute. We get 3L plus 1/2 L squared equals 80. How can I eliminate the half? Everything, right? This side and that side. So we're going to get 6L. That's a plus. Try that again. We've got 6L plus L squared equals 160. Now, this is a perfect review question for your test tomorrow. Because you have L squared, you have L to the first. Where must 160 be?
Right next to the...
We have to subtract it and get a 0. You can complete the square since that is even and that is a 1. You can do quadratic formula. You can do factoring. What are the factors of 160 that subtract to give me 6? 16 times 10. So here L is equal to negative 16, L equals 10. Does that make sense for L to be negative? Okay, what did it ask for? It said, what is the width? Do you notice that they have 10 as an answer? You see that? They have 10 as an answer. And so what happens is you all get so excited because your variable is there that you will answer A when it should have been what? This is your width. If you put 10 in, you're going to have 3 plus half of 10 is 8. So the answer is C. What is the most requested answer that is missed? A. You with me?
Yeah.
So this is how you think you aced the exam and you didn't. It's because you didn't go back and make sure you answered the question. Shall we do 8 while we're here? 8's the real life problem, really. Okay. So, and we did these. Last year, none of this was in the textbook. So this was like, ooh. But the new book did have these. All right. So we have percents. And they gave us a percent of 30. Is this what we pay or what we save? This is the save percent. Okay, then what is the pay percent? If you're saving 30, you're paying 70. If you're in the store and you are looking at a sale, then you work with the pay percent and it's a lot easier to calculate. The price we do not know, agreed? Either way, it's going to be P. Now the question is, did they give you the savings or did they give you what you pay? What is that $80? What you save. So there is your equation. You will not be using this. But if they told you that you paid something, then you would be using this. So remember, we changed our percents to decimals. We have 0.30p is equal to 80. And when I was doing this on Friday and I did this division, it came out to be $266.67. And I'm thinking, who in their right mind would buy a sweater for $267? And I thought I got it wrong, but guess what? That was the answer. So anyway, so maybe if I earned $500,000 a year, maybe I'd buy a sweater for $267. Any other questions on 1 through 8? Now we're going on questions 9 through 13 only. What would you like to see? 9. All right, now as I write 9, what do I want you to notice? Fraction again. Greater than. Now, what do you have to be careful of, even though none of these happened on the review, but it could very well happen on the test? What do you have to be careful of when you're in inequalities? Dividing or multiplying by a negative. That changes the sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply. Distribute. So you got 4/7 x. That's 4 over 1. So that 16 over 7 is greater than 1/7 x. And again, that's 4 over 1, 4/7. How do I eliminate those denominators?
Multiply by 7.
So I multiply everything by what?
7.
All right. And what's beautiful about all of this?
All 7.
They're all 7s. So the problem becomes 4x plus 16 is greater than x plus 4. All right, what do you want to do next? Subtract 16. 4x is greater than x minus 12. Now what do we do? So when we go to divide, are we going to be dividing by a negative number? So when I divide by 3, does this sign change? No. What is this? Negative 4. Next question. 11. All right. Now that one I didn't do on what's online. So 11, we have 4x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2, or, which means union, remember, and means intersection, or means union, 5 times x plus 1, and that's less than negative 1. Okay, so you might want to make a notation that and means intersection. What do they have in common? Union means you put them all together. This is number 11. What do we do first? Subtract 3x. So you've got x minus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now what? Add 2. What's going to happen on this side? X is greater than or equal to 0. distribute, we've got 5x plus 5 is less than negative 1. Now what do you do? Negative 6. Now what do we do? Do I have to flip my sign? No. All right, so let's go to a number line. We've got 0, and we've got negative 6/5. So maybe I'll move my 0. And we've got negative 6/5. So this is saying we want 0 this way forever. This is saying we do not want negative 6/5, but we want to go smaller. So since this is an OR, then this would be our graph. Remember how they did the brackets instead of the open circle, closed circle? So it looks to me like that the graph of B is correct. So I would say, oh, so if we wanted to put this in interval notation, that would be 0 to infinity, and that interval notation would be negative infinity to negative 6/5, and I did it in ascending order.
What would the answer be if it was like and instead of or?
There would be no solution because there's no intersection. Okay? All right. Any others on this page? Any others? All right. How could you make 12 easy? How do you make 12 easy? What's the slope of that line? 1/2. What's the y-intercept? 2. So if you look at this, is what kind of slopes have, or what kind of lines have positive slopes? What do they do? Rise or fall? Rise. So look at those 4 options. Which can you eliminate automatically? A and D. Now look at the y-intercept. Can the y-intercept tell you the rest? Yep. I just thought that was interesting. All right, now we're on 14 through 19. What would you like to see? 15. Find the equation of a line that is perpendicular. I did do 15, and this came up a lot, didn't it? There were lots of questions like this. Equals 1, and they've given us a point 0.03, and we need perpendicular slope. So we're going to start with this equation solving for y. So we're going to subtract x, and then we're going to divide by 2. Yes? All right. This part is totally unimportant, and I do not want you to look at it. So what is this slope? Negative 1/2. What is the perpendicular slope? 2. How do we do perpendicular slope as a study guide? Opposite what? Reciprocal. What's the other way they could ask this question? Parallel slope. What do we know? Equal slopes. All right. So now, we've got this, correct? So I don't know how you do it. I choose to do y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x minus 0. I'm going to look at my answers. They solved for y. So I'm going to distribute my 2 and add my 3. Next question. All right, find the equation of a line. This is kind of a prerequisite skill for what we did. We've given the point 2, -1, and we've been given slope of 1/2. You have the choice of using y equals mx plus b, or you can use y minus y1 is equal to slope times x minus x1. This is my favorite, so I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to say y minus the y value is equal to slope times x minus the x value. So I have y plus 1 is equal to 1/2 x. Now when I multiply half of 2, I get 1. I'm looking at these answers, and I see x and y are on the same side. So, and I see absolutely no fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do you see my denominator? I'm going to multiply everything by what? 2. So you have 2y plus 2 is x minus 2. Now I'm going to look at all my answers, and I see that x is positive. So that means x is positive here. I am moving my 2y to the right by subtracting it, and I'm moving my 2 to the left by adding it. So x minus 2y equals 4 was D. All right, so you see how I figured out how to get the answer they had. Sometimes looking at the answers helps you know what form to put it in. What's next on this page? Huh? Okay, so you got the slope? Okay, so the slope's going to be 4 minus 3 over 4 minus 3 over 1 minus a minus 2. So did you get 1/3? Okay, so do you use y equals mx plus b? Or do you use y minus y? Okay, so I'm going to stick with this one then. You have two ordered pairs. You've got -2, 3, and you've got 1, 4. Notice in this one, I don't need a y-intercept. I just need an ordered pair. Which one do you want to use? The first one. So that x goes over there. This y goes here, and that slope goes there. So you're going to have y minus 3 equals 1/3 times x minus a minus 2. So you've got y minus 3 distributing, I have 1/3 x plus 2/3. Now how do I notice fractions again? Wait a minute. But I'm looking at my answers, and I see that they solved for y. So y is going to equal 1/3 x plus 2/3. Where did I get 9/3? When I added 3 over this side, why did I add 9/3 on that side? I need a common denominator. So that's going to be 11/3. I wonder if they did 5/3. No, they didn't. That would have been a good distractor. Next, any others on this page? All right, then let's look at 20 through 25.
24.
It's the last 10 minutes, no. Which one, 21? Okay, not a function. Okay, which of the following is not a function? What are you looking for? Repeated what? X's. And which one has repeated x's? I believe A.
You did 24.
24. Oh, yes. I did that one online too, I believe.
Yeah,
I think I did a pretty good job guessing what you all would want. Seriously. That's all I could do Friday in case I was in Tampa. X equals small. Y equals large. Okay? So they're telling us that the sum of two integers is 11. X plus y equals 11. The fact that it's integers means you better not get a fraction or a decimal. All right. There is the word less than. And what did I tell you to do with less than when you saw it? I said cross it out and replace it with what? Subtracted from. So I'm going to read this with subtracted from. It says 1 subtracted from. Doesn't that mean minus 1? Twice the larger, 2y, is equals 5 times the smaller. So we can use elimination or we can use substitution. The fact that this is pretty simple, I could say x equals 11 minus y, at which point where do I put this? I plug it in for the x. So I'm going to have 2y minus 1 is equal to 5 times 11 minus y. So we have 2y minus 1 is equal to 55 minus 5y. So I'm adding 5y and I'm adding 1. So I get y to be 8. If y is 8, what is x? 3. What did they ask for? Look at your multiple choice answers. Did they give you both the large and the small? So if I had happened to solve for y, my answer down here would have been 3, and if you didn't pay attention, you would have picked the wrong one. What else would you like on this page? Any others? 20. Write the equation of a line that is perpendicular. What I like about 20 is the fact that they already gave me this equation in this form. That means I have less work. All right, what is this slope? Negative 1/3. They're asking for the perpendicular slope. What's the perpendicular slope? 3. So using this, oops, with that 3, we're going to say y minus the y value equals slope times x minus 5. Yes. Yes, when it's perpendicular. That's the reciprocal part. 3x minus 15, add 1, you're going to get 3x minus 14. Other questions? Graph the solution. So on 25, the first thing I would do is I would take my y minus 2 greater than or equal to x, and I would get it like this. That's going to be x plus 2. Okay? And so then what's the slope here? Positive or negative? Positive slope. So is this solid or dotted? Solid. Are all those solid lines going up? What can you now already eliminate? A and B. So now let's go to our dotted line. We have x plus 2y is less than 4. Solving for y, you're going to subtract x. Dividing by 2, you have y is less than negative 1/2 x plus 2. All right, so what we've got so far is we've got the solid line doing this, and we've got a dotted line doing that. You with me? And 0, 0 happens to be here. Bless you. So I'm going to put 0 here, and I'm going to put 0 there. Is 0 greater than 2? No. So here's my solid line, correct? It's a false statement, which means I need to shade. I think they messed up the answer here. All right, so now if I look at this, if I put 0 in and 0, is 0 less than 2? So that means, do I shade towards 0, 0 or away from 0, 0 here? Towards 0, 0. So this should be my answer. Is that what they gave us? Oh, was it? Okay. Other questions? There shouldn't be a single problem in 1 through 25 that you could not do, because you should have asked for anything you could not do. Amanda, did you get all yours done? Because you had them listed across the top. I did them all? Okay. What about you, Mark? Okay. So, I don't know if, all I know is that I take the exam and unstaple it, and you'll have one page on Thursday or Friday and one page on Monday. 30. Yeah, so you have 15 on Friday and 15 on Monday. Why? I mean, you got this 50 question. Look how many lines they gave you. How many perpendicular parallel?
Oh, not that math. Well, I'm just saying, like, I know I'm gonna like study, but I'm gonna like study less of one part, and of course that's gonna have like 5 questions.
If you can do every question on this review, you're set. If you can do all the questions on this review, you are set. So your homework tonight, due Wednesday or tomorrow, whenever you choose to do it, is the last 25. So we're going to spend Thursday going over, or Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll start Wednesday on the last 25, and then Thursday, we'll see what we're going to do from there. You might have more questions on the last 25, or maybe not, because it's the most recent. Yes.